Thank you, Carlos. Before I get started, I'd like to say, first of all, I'd like to express my appreciation to my board for allowing me to serve as chairman of the Executive Directors Committee this year. It requires a lot of travel, it's a lot of time commitment, and for those of you that don't know, NASBA normally picks up the price tag for travel for the chairman of the ED committee. Because of a conflict of interest policy adopted by the state of Tennessee, we cannot accept money from NASBA. So my board has picked up the tab for all of my travel, and I want to express my appreciation to them for that. It has been a true commitment of time and money for them. The members of the committee this year, and I'd like for you to stand when I call your name, are Jimmy Corley from Arkansas, Doris Cubitt from South Carolina, Ophelia Duran from Colorado, Russ Friedwald from Illinois, Pam Ivy from Wyoming. Pam, where are you? Okay, there you are. Wade Jewell from Virginia, Nicole Casson from South Dakota. Nicole, you are here, aren't you? You hadn't skipped out, have you? Dang if she didn't. Dave Sanford from Guam. And our staff liaisons were Dan Dustin and Pat Hartman. And please join me in congratulating these people and thanking them for the work that they have done. This has been a hard-working committee this year. Thank you. Russ Friedwald will be serving as chair of the committee next year. And Russ, just one word of advice. When you go to the Board of Directors meetings, do not sit next to Carlos Barrera because he talks during the entire thing.
I'm just glad you got the last name.
Yeah. Carlos number 2. How's that, Carlos? Can't really see that, but the 32nd annual directors meeting was in Savannah, Georgia, March 3rd through 6th, 2014. We had 37 state boards represented. We had 1 or 2 that couldn't get there because of some weather conditions. Randy Ross, where are you? I know that you had some problems getting there and you just gave up and went home, and I don't blame you. So this year we kind of moved it back a little bit, hoping to avoid any weather conditions. But we had a good time in Savannah. Now the question is, how do we keep everything interesting? Because we have new EDs coming in all the time. I think Nicole reported last year that we had 17 new EDs that had come in the past 2 years or so. But we've got all these old EDs like Jim Abbott and Bill Tracy that have been there forever and a day. So how do we keep it interesting for everybody and make sure that we're meeting their needs? Well, we did a quick poll, and that's how we determined what topics we were going to cover. It was a great way for us to get that information. We met in St. Louis, or St. Louis, however you want to say it. What's the correct pronunciation, Ken? St. Louis. Louis, okay. That meeting was held on Saturday, the 14th of June. We reviewed input from the regional meetings. We reviewed the information from the quick polls to determine what topics we wanted to cover. I'm saying finalize the draft for the 2015 agenda. We worked on the 2015 agenda and decided that our next meeting would be in Tampa. And we moved it back later in the month, as I said. We're going to be meeting March 24th through the 26th. I would encourage you, if you're an ED and you're present, please make plans to attend the ED conference. The networking is invaluable. These older EDs, those that have served longer, have experienced things that the newer ones will be getting into. You need that networking experience. If you're a board member and your ED is not present here, please encourage them to attend the ED conference in March. Our topics for the 2015 conference include, of course, the practice analysis. That's a big topic that's on everybody's mind right now. Federal agency referrals and an outreach update from DOL, IRS, SEC, PCAOB, all the federal agencies. We're going to have a peer review panel discussion. We're going to be talking about accounting education, the AP course issue. Do you accept AP courses if they're on a college transcript? Do you want to accept AP courses? Does your state even offer AP courses? That's an even bigger issue. Mobility enforcement. How far down the pike are we on this? We've had some mobility enforcement cases, but we haven't had any real legal issues that have come up. At least Noel, where's Noel? He disappeared. We haven't had any real legal cases come up as far as mobility enforcement goes that I know of. So right now we're just dealing with cases and complaints that have been dealt with by the state boards, but there's nothing that has been setting a precedent, if you will, a legal precedent. International education and U.S. accreditation, that's becoming a bigger issue. NASBA technology update. We appreciate Cheryl Farah and the work that her team has done. She is going to come and tell us what new things that she's dreamed up and how they're going to help us down the pike as far as technology goes. There's a NASBA RFP assistance update, and we are working primarily from a document prepared by Wade Jewell of the Virginia Board in regard to an RFP for a database. Should your board need to request an RFP for a new database system, we're hoping to have something very generic that you can adapt for use by your board and get that RFP out more quickly. But wait, there's even more. We're going to have updates on the uniform CPA examination. We're going to have legislative issues. We're going to talk about standard setters. We're going to have a report from legal counsel. And of course, we're going to talk about nano CPE learning. A couple of states have already adopted nano CPE learning. I think it's Ohio and Maryland. The question is, have they gone out on a limb that's going to get sawed off behind them? Or are they trendsetters and are in the forefront? How good is nano CPE learning? Maria Caldwell is kind of our expert on that, and we're going to ask her to present to us so that hopefully we have a better grasp of nano CPE learning, and we'll see how the millennials actually learn. You know, back in my day, it was 50-minute hour and that was it. Now they're wanting 10-minute increments, 20-minute increments. Can you really learn something in that length of time? Is it valuable? Can it be monitored? Can the CPE sponsors and providers be monitored adequately so that we can actually assure that that is good CPE? Those are the questions. We had a conference call on July the 3rd. We were talking about State Society Relations Committee. They want to have a joint session with the executive directors to talk about better relationships, how to get legislation moved. Of course, all of us know that you really can't get legislation moved through your legislature unless you have the support of the society. We need to work more closely together. Some states have a very good relationship with their society. North Dakota has an excellent relationship with their society. Since Jim Abbott is the CEO of the society and the ED of the board, I mean, how much better can it get? So other states struggle with that. So we're trying to build stronger relationships with the societies. And of course, ethics education is a topic. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. We're going to do this at breakfast topics at the ED conference. Rich Jones made a presentation on this in Savannah, did an excellent job, and I think that we are going to kind of use that as a springboard for what we're going to talk about in 2015. We had a conference call on September 22nd, discussion on how to coordinate efforts with the state societies, and here again, discussion on the finalized agenda. But as you know, for most conferences, finalized agenda means we currently have all the time slots filled. That means that everything can go to pot 2 days before the conference actually takes place. I've been there. I know that things change and it's always fluid, but we're looking at what we call a finalized agenda. We actually have everything in place as of right now. So I think we've done a good job. We want to express our appreciation to the Bylaws Committee for making the Executive Directors Committee a standing committee. I think that's an excellent move on the part of NASBA. EDs are the boots on the ground for NASBA and for the profession, and I think that we definitely need to be stakeholders in what NASBA is doing. Now, lest you think that it's all work, it's not. We do have a good time at the ED conference. Those of you that have been there understand what I'm talking about, that we have a recognition luncheon. Bob Brooks moderated this luncheon for a number of years, actually from time immemorial as far as I'm concerned. But when he decided to retire from that activity, he was kind enough to ask me to take over as moderator. I've done it for 2 years, had a great time with it. I think the EDs enjoy it, but we get everyone kind of involved. So here are the ED committee members. This is Dave and Ophelia and Pam getting their recognition, if you will. The members of the ED committee are always recognized first. If I make fun of them first, then it's easier to make fun of everybody else later on. This is Wade and Jimmy getting their authority sticks. I think that the hats shed glitter so that everybody kind of shined during the rest of the day. And I think Jimmy shook his authority stick so hard that the jingle bells fell off. But when you only pay 60 cents for the darn thing, what do you expect? You know, it's one of those. Even the liaisons got into the fun. Pat clearly enjoyed getting some type of authority from someone. She was clearly the queen of the event. And even the king participated. You know, Ken, the staff found the little thing on my badge that says I could be president. Well, maybe I want to be king instead. I'd rather be king or emperor than president, I can assure you. Now, where's the Mississippi contingent? Okay, I think this is Ransom laughing hysterically, but I'm not sure. Andy just looks like he's totally embarrassed. And finally, even the CPA was not immune. This is Mike Decker, and this is the man to whom we've entrusted the CPA exam. Keep that in mind. But we had a great time with it. I've enjoyed my year as chair of the ED. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much for the opportunity to serve my profession in this particular regard. Thank you.